And that's when I said to her, "That's not my wife. That's a camel."
Start over.
No, I'm not starting it over. No, we're going with it. Hi, welcome back to the College Dropout Podcast. I'm your host, Jay, and this is my co-host.
It's the co-host Dodo, always as it is. Fuck it, we're going live.
Managed to pull him out of the dumpster again tonight.
So I was gnashing on straight flip-flops, but not like I'm gnashing on cooch on the college campus.
He'd be out of the SU, he'd walk up to the cafeteria, bro, he'd be like, "Can I get some coochie? Y'all got coochie?"
Spare coochie.
Spare coochie, man.
Anyway, Jay, what sort of topics do we have on the menu today?
Well, like we talked about last episode, I managed to pull myself away from my Harry Potter-induced stupor, and I was capable of formulating some questions. So today, Dodo, we're going to be talking about aliens to start with.
Ooh,
Do
aliens.
you believe?
Oh, absolutely, I believe in
Why
aliens.
do you believe in aliens?
Alright, well, I swear it's either I have just drank a fifth of vodka or
It's probably
I'll be
the
chilling.
vodka.
It's probably the vodka. Anyway, I'd be chilling. Real story here, audience. I've been chilling in different places before. Like, for example, recently I was actually in my room on the phone.
Yo.
It was about 2 a.m., right, roughly. And my house is kind of in the middle of fucking nowhere. All right, it's it's nowhere near the super urbanized area.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't get many visitors. Absolutely no trick or treaters. But I was sitting on the phone with the honey of the week, as I call them, and
bitch.
yeah,
What's her name again? What's the fucking name again?
we can't name drop, Jay. We can't name drop.
Oh yeah. Can we call her let's call her by like the first letter of her name. So D, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
D.
So this was D,
Okay.
Ho of the week.
How old are we?
I'm so sorry if you're listening to this. I don't mean it at all. Anyway, so I'm listening to this hoe drag on whatever she's talking about, life problems, depression, all sorts of make-believe shit. And I look out my window, and there's just like a triangle-shaped thing fucking just zooming, like zigzagging and shit,
Yeah.
like through the sky. And I'm like, all right. So either that's a fucking airplane, and I am just fucking shit-faced, or that's a UFO. And, it didn't have, like, the normal lights that it may have had. And but then again, I'm not an expert. Right? This easily could have been a total bogus thing. But so many people, I think, have seen crazy shit that they can't identify. And there's so many videos online. Sure, some of them are hoaxes, but some have been, like, nationally reported. So many, like, high-up officials have, like, said crazy shit. Like, for example, there was like a prime minister or some shit in Canada openly admitted that the Canadian government had, like, long-term, like, connections and talks with extraterrestrials.
I know for a fact, recently, the United States Navy publicly released like 3 videos of unidentified flying objects and fully asserted that we didn't know what they were.
Yeah, man.
That's not necessarily to say like, oh, these are of alien origin.
Mm-hmm.
What it means is just like the U.S. government doesn't, like, we don't own these aircraft. They don't belong to us, and we don't know who owns them.
Mm-hmm.
So like it could belong to like Russia or China. But what I'm saying, what I think is personally, so since the government via the U.S. Navy here has basically come out and said, we don't know what this technology is. We don't have it. We don't know what, like, how the hell to use it or what these are. I feel like since we've come out and basically like played the fool and looked like a bitch, like if it did belong to Russia or China, they'd be so quick to just be like, yes, that shit is ours.
Yeah, that's yours. That's ours.
Shit you don't understand or know about? Yeah, that's us.
Hands off, you greedy bastards. No, it's like, I remember seeing these videos, and these things are like just sitting there. They're not like flying, like, the rest of the jets and stuff are from like the video. but they're literally sitting there. I remember I was listening to another podcast, and they were actually talking...
podcast?
I know.
The College Dropout Podcast?
Merch in the description.
Link in bio.
And I was listening to it, and it was like an actual like military official who had been...
The Joe Rogan Experience?
It may have been the Joe Rogan Experience. Can I call him out? Joe, can I be on the podcast, please?
Joe, can
anyway,
be on the podcast, please?
Please, and also thank you. Anyway, so he was talking about seeing these things, and they weren't just like flying along with the other jets.
Mm-hmm.
It was sitting there.
Yeah.
And then it kind of like switched positions. It went from going like vertical to like horizontal, and started fucking zigzagging back and forth. And they were talking. They understood how it was doing it.
Yeah.
But it didn't understand like what that technology was. Like humans do not have that technology.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like it was like a magnifying gravity, some sort of technology that could magnify the effects of gravity and be able to send it into a zigzag pattern and then as fast as it wants.
Yeah.
You say that's like all known aviation physics.
All known laws of aviation.
Pretty much, just straight broken.
Would say that the bee cannot.
Shut up. This is not the B. This is not the time for B movies, Jay.
No,
These are demons.
Demons. Sky demons.
They're turning the freaking frogs gay.
The chemical in the water. I thought we said we weren't going to talk about Alex Jones.
That's it. You know, I said I wasn't going to talk about Alex Jones, but damn it, it needed to be said.
You're right. That's fucking facts right there. No.
But no, in all seriousness, it's like there's so many different universes and galaxies and
There's only one
stars.
universe.
Shut the fuck up.
Unless we want to talk about string theory and parallel universes.
You never know. I don't know.
I mean,
I'm on
I
so much potato
I think
juice.
that there's parallel
It's
universes.
not crazy. I'm such a lightweight. I'm not on that much. But anyway,
I don't know. There definitely was like a lot more in there when we started.
there was, but there's just so many universes and planets. Fuck, I said universes again. There's so many galaxies, planets, stars. There's so much space we don't even know about.
Yeah.
The odds of there not being any other life ever, anywhere in the universe, is so astronomically low, I would imagine.
I would tend to agree.
I'm gonna say it's like, even if it's not like this super advanced species that's visiting us, spying on us, has made contacts with us, the idea that there is not some sort of intelligent life out there anywhere, I'd say the odds of that are
really
pretty
close-minded to think.
I genuinely, yeah.
I think is really it'd be egocentric, if you will, to think that we're the only sentient higher beings capable of higher thought in the known universe. It's absolutely ridiculous to make that claim.
Exactly, and it's like, how long have humans been around? Like 10,000 years, roughly?
I think so, something like that. At least early hominids.
Yes, and how long has everything been around? We don't know.
Very long time.
Billions
of years.
Infinite amount of time.
Already talking about the universe.
The universe in general. It's
millennia.
Exactly, and it's the idea that humans are the first thing that has ever been there, and the only thing that will ever be is beyond closed-minded. It's ignorant.
It's extremely ignorant. Our race could have ended in literally the snap of a finger. 1 second we could be totally fine, then some asteroid that's moving way faster than we could possibly detect could just crash into the Earth, split the planet in two, and just we're fucked.
How crazy is that there's so many different ways that the human race could literally just be wiped off?
I think I definitely agree. It's really crazy. There's so many ways that we're such a frat. Everybody thinks that our society is so big, there's no way we could fail. like globally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
But like, there's so many different ways in which like everything in like 1 second could just come crumbling down.
Exactly, and it's like
I don't tend to think about it very much. Like, I personally am like a fairly deeply rooted optimist.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really pay mind to those kind of things. There's only so many things and that I myself can control, and there's no reason to sit here and like worry about things that I can't.
Exactly. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but it's like
It's definitely frightening.
It's frightening, but I mean, I'm kind of on you on the same. But I try to be an optimist at least, and either that or I just flat out don't care. It's my college depression kicking in, speaking for itself.
Thousands of dollars in debt changes you.
You know, it happens.
It makes you really hit the bottle harder on the weekends.
Yes.
Yeah, I once said to one of my friends, this weekend I'm gonna hit the bottle like an MMA fighter. And let me tell you what, I squared up on that bitch like it was fight night on TiVo.
Oh my god, it's terrible. Let's say, do you watch MMA at all?
Anime?
MMA.
MMA.
I was fucking weeb.
Like, anime? It's been a very long time.
I can get down with some hentai. Why you ask?
I don't really watch much sports. I don't really watch much TV.
So I don't really watch much TV either. Ever since the cable got cut in the dumpster I crawled out of.
The cable you were siphoning.
Yeah. It's been hard to watch. But, every now and then I do enjoy a nice MMA fight to watch. I don't keep up with it very regularly, but definitely interesting.
I agree.
How crazy do you think you got to be to fucking hop in an octagon with another very fit person and literally just beat the shit out of each other?
Dude.
And sure, you have gloves on. You're still getting knees and elbows and fucking God only knows what else.
I've been itching to just get into an all-out fist fight with somebody.
Really? Is it a certain person or
just like, I think it's just the testosterone in me is just like, must fight.
Do you need to just jerk off?
I don't know, man. But like, I definitely have like this deep urge to just get into like a violent fist fight with someone. It's not anyone, like I said, it's not anyone in particular. And like, I don't necessarily want to beat someone to death. That's not what I'm saying. I just want to get into like a fight.
So you're such a happy person. I can't imagine you getting in a fight with somebody.
Nobody would fight me. That's the problem. Like,
everybody loves you, Jay.
I'm not like a very like, I'm not a physically built person, but I have a lot of weight. Like, I'm not fat, but like, yeah. I have weight. And if I were to get into a fight with somebody,
you could use it.
I'd definitely like clock somebody's shit.
So you got some beefy biceps.
So this is gonna be like mildly personal, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, but like I don't really care. So like most of the women that I've dated are at least 2 to 3 inches shorter than me, if not more, and skinny as a twig. Almost every single one of them. Mm-hmm. The problem with every single one of them is like, even the girls that I've been interested in and haven't dated, all of them always tell me all the time about how like, oh, if we were to get into a fight, I'd kick your ass. Like, oh, if we were to fight Jay, I would. No, fuck. Whatever, it's my first name. Oh, Jay, if we were to get into a fight, I'd kick your ass. And yeah, sure, I'm not gonna like, just fight like a girl, because like that's not cool.
No.
But like now let me clarify something. Gentlemen in the chat, if you are being attacked by a woman or in a physically abusive scenario with a woman, it is, in my opinion, fully within your right to hit that bitch back.
Pretend you're Chris Brown.
Defend you. Chris Brown, Rihanna, baby. Fight night on TiVo. But seriously, it is well within your right to defend yourself. There is not any social construct in place that says that it is perfectly fine for her to be hitting you and for her to get away with it is absolutely ridiculous. You shouldn't have to think that. You shouldn't have to feel like that.
I agree.
But like in the same scenario, it's like these girls are of such a small and weak physical stature that I would not. There's no possible way I could consider them as a physical threat.
Well, yeah, I think there's a huge misconception that like fat people are like super weak or out of shape.
I'm not out of shape. Like the other day, I went to the gym. I don't normally go to the gym, audience. I ran a 5K in the same time as a typical trained runner would run a 5K. And I did so, without blacking out or falling over when I was done with it. Like I did it, and I moved on to weight training like a normal human being.
Well, I think there's like a misconception that bigger guys are just out of shape just because they have body fat, and it doesn't make any sense to me.
It's just because I eat what I want to eat, dude.
Exactly. It's like you don't know, like you can't see like the muscular system under that. Not only to add the body fat just adds to their mass. It's like I don't understand them like how people misconstrued being super or even mildly overweight to be not strong. It's almost like people think unless you can see your muscles, you're strong. It's just like a misconception. If people think that they can see your abs, oh my god, he must be fucking built. No, the reason you can see your abs is because your body fat is low. And that's what makes me so angry. Is because people who are rail thin, like 6 feet tall at 140 pounds, obviously they're gonna have abs.
Dude, these skinny white boys out here think that they that they own the world. Ladies and gentlemen at home, let me tell you something. It is fat boy fall. We are out here getting that shit, dude. We are out here. You know what the ladies want? They don't want some bone ass skinny motherfucking white boy.
They want a meat
They
man.
want
Meat on
a
his
man
bones.
with some meat on his bones they can cuddle up with in the winter and be warm and be cozy. These bitches don't want these skeletal boys that have more angles than they have soft spots, dude.
JB the meat mountain, to be honest.
Meat mountain, baby.
Oh my goodness.
You go to Arby's, they order the meat mountain.
They order the Big J is what they order.
Big J. Oh my
With a side
Arby's, can we please get a sponsorship?
The side of cream cheese.
Sandwich deal.
Oh my goodness. Extra cheese, please.
So you mentioned that you wanted to talk about mental health today, though.
Oh, of course. I was gonna say, ask me all about it. I got all the problems, Jay. Got rampant stupidity, depression, not real. Pretty much all of them. I Ash Ketchum caught them all.
Yeah. So, as we mentioned the last episode, I am in fact a psychology major. I have an intent to be a clinical psychology major later down the road and get a master's degree. So I'm fairly well read in the abnormal psych.
Yeah.
In the abnormal psych world,
Could you interview me and see if I have some sort of psychological deformity?
Nah, well,
Does it not work like that?
I'd say it mostly falls down to like talking about like more personal details and stuff like that, and like getting a better read on like your personal backstory, what you went through, like your emotional well-being, and I hate to say it, but our online podcast might not necessarily be the place to do that with. But as someone who has had experience in the mental health world, I can talk about some of the ins and outs. So I personally have been to a psych ward in the past.
Really?
Yeah. Long time ago, about 4 years ago, freshman year of high school. We are, in fact, freshmen in college. So
and already dropping out.
And we're already planning on dropping out. 4 years ago, in my freshman year of high school, I was really struggling with my mental health. Real quick PSA for everybody listening at home. There are places and ways for you to reach out. There is no reason for you to sit in silence and struggle with your own mental health and think that it is because it is your issue, it is entirely your own burden to bear. It is not. there are resources and there's help out there for you if you know the right people to ask. A good place to start is your school counselor. It might not seem it, but it's probably the best way for you to start. If not, if you have supportive parents, that's a good place to start too. Reaching out is the best first step, and it's what got me on the road to getting better. So that's my advice.
Preach. Welcome to church.
Now let's get on to a little lighter note because this is going to be fairly fucking funny.
All right.
So when I went to the mental health hospital, the psych ward, it was actually an external facility that was not actually located at the hospital that I went to. It was an external facility, probably 20-30 minutes actually away from the main hospital, in a completely different town. I won't mention the name of the facility that I attended just for privacy purposes. However, it was the fucking best. Like, after the first day that I was there, dude, it was like a vacation. I was away from my parents. There was almost like no personal accountability there. Everybody there was funny as hell. Like, let me put this into perspective for you guys. This is going to be this is probably one of my favorite stories. So I'm sitting in group therapy on my first day in the mental hospital, right? And there's this girl sitting there in group. So she's talking about her like home life and how like her uncle molested her and her dad beat her and her mom was like emotionally abusive. Really rough story. And I was sitting there somber as fuck, just like really relating to her story, minus the uncle sexually abusing me part. And I noticed this girl starts like ticking and fidgeting. And I don't think anything of it because I'm like, yeah, I'm here in the loony bin. This is probably pretty normal.
That's the regular.
It's just pretty normal.
If you're not ticking, I think you're the weird one at that point.
I know. And then she's ticking and she's twitching. And I'm like, oh, wonder what's going on over there. Can't possibly be good. And
that's what you say.
Suddenly she just goes rigid. She just goes rigid and sits all the way up. And I can see the leader of group therapy look over at her. And I just see her face drop. And I know some shit's about to go down. But shit. I don't know what. This girl jets out of her fucking chair and at the top of her lungs screams, "Who you gonna call? Ghost fuckers!" And I lost my fucking mind. I lost it, dude.
Oh my god.
Like,
you think Bill Murray would approve?
Bill Murray would, in fact, approve of ghost fuckers. That is also probably...
That sounds like it'll start to a really good porn.
Ghost fuckers.
There's some weird fucking porn.
There is some weird fucking porn.
Like, I swear to you, for every TV show, for anything, honestly, but especially for TV shows, there is a porn for fucking... Dude, I once watched...
Internet rule number 34. People don't really understand how fucking true that rule is. Did you know there is, in fact, porn of Dora the Explorer, SpongeBob SquarePants?
Like, these two together, or like... Because I've seen the I've seen the SpongeBob one. There was this guy in a whole ass like box suit. Right.
I'm not even gonna mention the title.
Get this. There was a whole ass fucking guy. His face was painted yellow. He had a fake nose on. Fucking, he was in a giant yellow box. Looked like SpongeBob. It was actually just a black girl with a fishbowl on her head playing Sandy Cheeks. And so obviously. She decides to start blowing him, has to take the fishbowl off. I know you were curious. And no, his dick was not painted yellow. I know you were also curious because I was. And it was pretty normal from that. I think he actually took the box off once they started having intercourse. But, I was a little disappointed by the plot, honestly. I'm going to say 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. Honestly... considering it's No Nut November, I've been watching a lot of porn for the plot, and you would be surprised to find that it makes literally no sense.
I once saw a TMI audience. I once saw a porno where it was supposed to be like a family Thanksgiving dinner, and the turkey was a fucking blow up. Like, it was literally a blow-up turkey. Like, it was like plastic. Like,
Really?
yeah, like, what? How low budget do you have to be
You can't
to
even
not
afford.
be able to afford, like, a fucking chicken or something, pass it off as a... rotisserie chicken's $5 fucking dollars. You have to get a blow-up
Couldn't even at
turkey?
least put that on the table, yeah. So, to wrap up that story, I basically doubled over laughing. I was on the floor crying my fucking eyes out because of just how unexpected it was. And I had to be seen out of group therapy by, like, this black server, not server, what the fuck? Basically, the nurse, basically, yeah, caretaker, if you will. He takes me out of the hallway, like, the group therapy room we were in was like a library. The whole doors were glass. So he takes me around the corner. I'm still laughing my fucking ass off, and he grabs me on the shoulder a little bit. He's like, "Dude, you need to calm the fuck down." Dead serious. You need to calm the fuck down.
Calm down.
And I was like, "Dude, I can't. I fucking can't." He's like, "Dude, I know. I was trying my hardest not to bust a fucking gut laughing too." I was like, "Dang." He's like, I look at his name. I was like, "Dude, Dave, you were the fucking legend."
I mean, you gotta think, like, some of those people had to have seen some, like, obviously some sad shit, but probably some fucking funny shit, too.
I mean, there was a lot. Like, my entire stay there was, like, super fun. Like, there was this dude with schizophrenia there.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, normally schizophrenia is, like, I always thought schizophrenia was, like, probably like one of the scarier mental health disorders. And it is. It's not enjoyable. It's not enjoyable to witness.
It wouldn't be my first to choose.
But holy Christ, was this guy funny. So one of my friends there, Mikey, he gets shipped out. And that very same day, later on that day, like that night, this new guy gets shipped in, and he goes to bed with everybody else. And I was hard sleeping there, but I wake up at like 1 a.m. and I hear like knocking and rattling and shit coming from across the hall. We had to keep our doors cracked open so nurses could come in and check on us, right? Mm-hmm. I'm hearing knocking and rattling and shit coming from his room, and I know it's coming from his room. Then I hear his fucking shower come on.
What the fuck?
And I'm like, you say a shower at 1 a.m.? What the fuck? And then, like, I just basically thought, like, nothing of it, and I go back to sleep. The next morning, we're all, like, sitting around having breakfast, and he comes over, and he recognizes me as the guy, lives across from him.
Yeah.
So he sits next to me. He's like, hey, what's up? My name's Chris. I was like, what's up, man? All these names have been changed to protect the identities of these people. So Chris sits down, and I am like, yo, what's up? My name's Jay. Chris, how you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm pretty good. I was like, so what are you here for? He's like, oh, I suffer from schizophrenia. I was like, oh, yeah, that's rough stuff, man. He's like, oh yeah, and I also sleepwalk. And then he proceeds to tell me this story. And, like, as he's telling me the story, like, it slowly dawns on me that he might have been sleepwalking last night.
As he was showering?
As he was showering. And so he tells me that, I was like, so, like, what's the most insane sleepwalking story you have? He's like, well, this one time I woke up in a cornfield 4 miles away from my house, butt naked. And I was like,
you think anybody, like, saw him walking over there and they're just like, seems like not my business?
Dude, that's like real crackhead shit, too. They must have just been like, that's too much crackhead energy. Like, I can't fuck with that.
I can't fuck with that.
But like, I was like, hey, like, were you awake last night at, like, 1 a.m.? And he's like, no.
What the fuck are you talking about, bro?
Yeah,
I was slumped.
he was like, yeah, I was dead asleep. I was like, all right.
No reason. No.
Later that very same fucking day, we're standing next to one of the only, like, external windows, and it basically went out into, like, this garden area. Mm-hmm. So it's like basically a long set of windows, and Chris grabs me violently by the shoulder out of nowhere, and just like, he's like, dude, holy shit, look. I'm like, Chris, what's going on? What's up? And he's like, did you just see that? And I was like, what? And he's like, it was a fucking UFO. And I was like, Like aliens?
Going back to the aliens.
He's like, aliens? I was like aliens? He's like, yeah, like fucking aliens. You see them fly off in the fucking sun? Can't you see them? I was like, what? No, I can't. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks that I'm talking to a schizophrenic. And my immediate gut reaction was simply, dude, yeah, I fucking saw those goddamn aliens.
Yeah, man, I
saw shit. We're pushing on 30 minutes here.
I was gonna say that was right on the 30-minute mark. That was a good way to wrap it up, though. It was a good story.
Good.
Thank you to Chris, the schizophrenic, for
Thank
the
you,
wonderful
Chris.
stories. I hope he's doing well.
Me too.
This has been the third, episode
of the College Dropout Podcast.
This has been Dodo
and Jay
signing off for the third time.
Have a lovely day
and night.